And we're back. Episode 21.
Episode 21.
It's a Brandon and Tyler episode. No Greyson.
No Greyson, which means the production value is subpar at best.
Down to shit.
I am just been... I've been super excited because the last time that Greyson wasn't here, you took over the recorder you did the producing.
So let me start over. I am Tyler, and we're here with producer Brandon.
Yes. Producer Brandon. You guys will look back at the episode 21 and you'll be like, that was really a diamond in the rough for the early years of Critically Unacclaimed. It's really when Brandon took the production helm that things really just kind of it's really evened out.
Hey, is this the one that we get to Joe Rogan level? Is this
I'm producing, so fuck yeah. Let's go on. Let's come on. Bring it.
Hit the intro.
Bring it, Joe Rogan.
Hit the intro music, producer.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a change up. I leave the city and return with my change up. They got amnesia, don't remember how they played us. They wanna knock me down, but somehow I just stay up.
Critically Unacclaimed Podcast. I am Tyler, here with producer Brandon.
Hey,
what
guys.
is up? But hey, we were talking earlier, and I was telling you about ordering some nunchucks.
Yes.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I know you said that you were a fellow chucker. You said you chucked a little bit in the back in the day.
It's really funny. So first of all, we're two grown men talking about ordering nunchucks, and the fact that we have like pure excitement.
Hey.
And giant smiles on our faces as we're talking about it.
Don't blame me. Blame Wish. They advertised these nunchucks to me. It's crazy. They actually have several different styles of nunchucks to get on there. You can get like wooden handle with like a rope, wooden handle with chain, plastic handle. You can get some that have like a little coating on them.
Yeah.
The wood with coating or metal inside. I went with the stainless steel, of course, with the chain. Like, I'm hardcore.
So after your after your inevitable like mind or brain injury that you're gonna accrue from this, I couldn't think of the word concussion.
Knock myself out, give myself a concussion.
But no, so I am a fellow chucker. So my nunchuck story starts off as a young child watching Ninja Turtles 2 and watching Michelangelo turn kielbasa sausages into the nunchucks, and I went, that's fucking cool.
The scene though from the first Ninja Turtles movie where he's like nunchuck dueling the foot soldier, and then he's like turns around and it's like and he's like spinning it on his finger, and it's just like sitting there spinning, and he's like, keep practicing. That, like, as a kid, dude, I was like, fuck yeah, like Michelangelo, like that's why he's my favorite, is that fucking scene. And did you used to play with nunchucks as a little kid?
So I had no, so I didn't. No, they didn't let me have nunchucks.
I had so many.
I would tie two sticks together with like a shoestring, and I had like poor man, nunchucks.
Those weren't poor man. Those were good. Like you could take those and like use a shoestring and some duct tape, and you could get that string centered right in the middle, and they would end up being pretty dangerous freaking weapons.
Yes.
Like you get a roll of duct tape, you put a half a roll of duct tape around like two pieces of wood, like tied together with some string. Walk the shit out of somebody.
I also remember my father taking away a baseball that I had put onto like a shoestring and tied it to a stick, and then I had taken like screws and staples, and I had like duct taped over this baseball, and I made a flailing star, like a mace. Yes, I made a mace, and I'm like whipping it around. And the thing is like, if I would have hit somebody with this mace,
you would have fucked him up.
I would have really fucked him up. And so like, it's totally legit that he took it away from me, but it was pretty fucking cool.
Well, I used to make them all the time, and like I lived on a farm, so I had access to a lot of different tools and no supervision. So it was just basically like I just went out there and found some hammers and nails, and I would like take a piece of dog chain I found and like nail it to some boards that I'd cut, and and I made fucking nunchucks. I had an endless supply, it seemed like, of electrical tape, and I'd make them, and they would look fucking awesome, and I would play with them for a while, and then I remember I got pretty good with them, and my dad was like, "Man, you are pretty good. Like, I don't know how you don't whop yourself with them." And then they eventually thought I was going to kill myself because they kept getting better and better, right?
Yeah.
So by the time I'm like 9 years old, these are like legit fucking nunchucks. Like I had 2 pieces, like get this shit, dude. I talked my cousin into fucking drilling holes in this pipe, in this metal pipe. It was 1/2 inch metal conduit. I found 2 12-inch pieces with caps. So they drilled holes through the caps, both caps, and I ran chain all the way down through, and I bolted it off down at the bottom, and then fucking duct tape that shit all together, and then black tape to make it look stealthy and electrical hammers. And I had 2 like galvanized pieces of pipe chained together as nunchucks. And dude, like that was it. That was the final straw. I wasn't allowed to have them after that.
Okay, yeah, because those would have killed someone. But with that being said, I do want to talk a little bit about our laziness. Actually, we're sitting here talking about waiting on you ordered them from Wish, and we're sitting there waiting. There is nothing that you just said that as grown-ass men we couldn't create ourselves. And I work at a hardware store.
I don't think I could have bought all the shit as expensive as hardware shit is right now as what these cost. These are only like $18, and they're like legit stainless steel. They screw together, so it's like a baton.
There's nothing you can't get from Wish, and I love the fact that it just tells you whatever it thinks you want to see. I still, for the life of me, have no idea why I need a double-sided dildo, but for whatever reason, Wish seems to think I do. Hey. And I don't know what I'm looking at that's making them think that, but I've got to stop. I have to clear my history or something, because it's always like latex, like underwear that like zips in the front and back.
Do you get like the pocket pussies,
yes.
or do you get the sex dolls? Like they'd be like an ass and pussy.
Yeah, no, it's like everybody's either obsessed with sex or they think I am. And it's crazy because
I think it's just that they think that people buy that shit. I think that they think that everyone buys that shit.
They think people like.
I think they know that people buy that shit.
You think they just put it on everyone's and they're just like, no, it's our best sellers. It's not an algorithm. It's just our best sellers. Me,
like they're just like, this guy's into fly fishing, nunchucks. And guess what? I bet he also likes to fuck things. So we're gonna throw this up there and try to see if it goes for it.
Greyson, we miss you. This has already went way awry. But
I haven't bought one yet. Just so everybody knows, like, I trust me, I've been thinking about it. I see them. Well,
yeah, there. No, I'm sure that you were thinking about it. And you were like, huh? Well, they've got nunchucks too.
Yes.
I'll get the nunchucks now, see how long it takes,
right.
And then we'll go back. We'll see. We can try this Wish thing out. My nunchucking came. Back when I was 21 years old, one of my roommates, shout out to John Mitchell. People call him Big John or Brown Bear, but he got me 2 pairs of nunchucks, like these nice wood ones and metal at a gun show. Right, he'd go to gun shows all the time. We know how I feel about gun shows, but John goes whatever.
I love.
But he buys
shows.
Me nunchucks. He buys me 2 pairs, right? And so I went to Iraq. And when I went to Iraq, they let me take those nunchucks. I don't know why I needed the nunchucks, but they let me take them.
To protect your shit. Like that's why I had an
M4 and an M9 Beretta, and like
you may not want to bust that out, and you might hurt someone.
Yeah, no.
Like, you know, that you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
A nunchuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're only going to hurt the one person when you chuck them in the face.
I can tell you with 100% accuracy and honesty that I never took the nunchucks outside of the wire. They were only in my base. But with that being said, there's a lot of time. You have a lot of downtime.
I don't go to the north side of Springfield without a good set of nunchucks on me.
Well, in all fairness, the north side of Springfield, like some of those places are a little hairier than the place I was in Iraq. But
you said it. I
Oh, we just lost our North Springfield audience.
No,
I'm so sorry,
they're probably
guys.
like, They're like, preach. They're like, I got my nunchucks right the fuck here. Like they don't leave my side.
So So I practiced a lot with the nunchucks. I got really good with them. I went to go send them back whenever I left Iraq. They wouldn't let me send them back because they wouldn't let me send a weapon back.
That's fucked up.
I know, right? I was like, but you let me bring
them. The U.S. government owes you 2 pair of nunchucks.
Well, no, they let me. So there was an Aegis guy, and for those of you that don't know what Aegis is, it's like a private security firm. It's like Blackwater, as it is a private security firm. It is not like Blackwater in the sense that, as far as I know, Aegis hasn't done a lot of hairy shit.
Well, Blackwater ain't even Blackwater. They're gone.
Yeah,
now, right?
but that's
triple canopy or something.
Some of the shit they got into. But with that being said, Aegis was a lot of like Australian and British special forces guys retired or out of the military, and they're private security contractors. Anyways, there was one that fancied himself a ninja. Basically talked about how he was a ninja the entire time. I shared a compound with them. And so those guys were really fun. Those guys can drink like crazy, as you can imagine the Brits and Australians can. Yeah. All of them could have ripped me in half at any given point because they were just, they're professional badasses. And one of them would sneak into others' apartments, hide in their closet. And when they came out, he'd just jump out and yell, "Ninja!" and scare the living shit out of them. Scare people that are professional warmongers, like professional soldiers that are now soldiers for hire.
It takes a lot of balls,
right,
to jump out and scare someone with a weapon.
So I walked up to him. Now I only had 1 pair at this point because I broke the other pair, but I had the 1 pair, and I said, I need to hand these down to a true ninja. And so that's my nunchuck story. Wait, but I was really good with them.
No, your nunchuck story. How did you break the first pair?
Okay. No, it wasn't super fancy. Like I got really good at them. I could never do 2 at the same time.
It's hard.
Yeah, no, like my left hand's just not.
You have to have that hand to kind of balance your chucking.
Yeah, so it was always my right hand. Anyway, so I was using 1 pair and I was flipping around, and the compound was nothing but gravel. But one got away from me, and it just whipped and hit I don't know if it was the concrete barrier that it hit once it whipped out of my hand, or if it was the subsequent like gravel landing. But I went out, picked up the nunchuck, and one of the wooden nunchucks was still sitting on the ground.
I'd imagine hitting a wall.
I'm sure I could have fixed it, but I didn't because I had another pair. And
you could have gorilla glued them together.
Nothing as funny as giving it to a true Australian ninja. Yeah, a lot of ninjas from Australia. No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all.
For those of you that can't watch us, because none of you can, Tyler was just pondering the idea of an Australian-born ninja.
I was
and
just
the fact
thinking,
of the matter is
there
there's no.
Do you remember the movie back in the day, American Ninja?
You mean the like 6 movies, American Ninja? But yeah, no, I do remember that.
They're not bad.
No, I remember like growing up, and I like really, really, really enjoyed them.
Yeah, they were just because they were ninja movies,
but they're awful, right? Like,
man, did you ever watch the ninja movies, like the stuff like Wu-Tang Clan and stuff talks about?
No.
I watched some of those when I was a kid. Believe it or not, in fucking BFE, Missouri, out there where I grew up, in the middle of nowhere in the woods, there was a gas station that had movies, and some of the movies they had were these old kung fu movies. And so I would rent them periodically, not very often, but I would always get 1 or 2. And it didn't take I didn't rent very many of them because they were fucking stupid and short. So like I wanted a movie that I could watch, that was like 2.5 hours long, right? Like keep me, something to do all night.
Yeah.
Well, I'd find these like kung fu movies, and they'd literally be like 45 minutes long, and just absolutely ridiculous. There'd be some good ninja fighting in them, and I'd be like, all right, it's just starting up, and then like it would end. Like I don't even know if the fucking movie was fucking 45 minutes. It felt like as a little kid that it was literally like a 5-minute goddamn movie. Like maybe so bad, but I used to watch all those old kung fu movies. Like try to. My dad liked those. He would always put those on TV when they were on.
You remember what was it? Kung Pao, Legend of the Fist. Remember when they were making fun of those tropes?
Yeah.
Do you
remember Kung Fu the show?
Yeah, of course, with David Carradine.
And then Kung Fu the legendary, or the
legend continues.
The legend. It was Kung Fu the Legendary Journey.
Yeah.
And then it was Kung Fu the Legend Continues later on down the road. I watched the Legend Continues a lot, like because my dad used to watch the original, and then he started watching the new one when it came out, so I started watching it with him. I think it was on like right after X-Files, right before.
So they've always been making remakes. Like we make the big deal out of them making remakes, but like.
No, this was a continuation.
It was
a continuation of the old show.
Kung Fu: The Legend or the Journey or whatever.
Legendary Journey, yeah.
Wasn't that like late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
And then like 15 years later, they're like in the mid 90s, they're like, hey, let's just make another Kung Fu movie.
Yeah, it was back in like the late 70s, early 80s, like right around the Karate Kid phase, whenever literally everybody was Kung Fu fighting.
Why did you can't not do that.
I know. I was waiting. And but they just kind of, it was just kind of another trope. Like there was a lot of Kung Fu stuff going on. I think the 80s is actually like the first American Ninja was actually probably before we were born. I think the first one I seen was American Ninja 3, like if I'm not mistaken. And then I went back and watched the other two.
The movie that stands out in my head that was always badass was it Best of the Best? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
The U.S. Taekwondo team goes up against, what was it? South Korea.
South Korea, yep.
Yes, and the protagonist's brother was killed in the ring by the South Korean Taekwondo master, and he had to go redeem himself.
Oh, dude, I know
himself.
I know we had some stuff to talk about, but I actually have two things that just popped in from this conversation that I want to talk about. First one, I want to finish this Kung Fu movie talk, but I also want to bring up old TV shows, because talking about Kung Fu just reminded me of some old TV shows that I really would like to go back and watch. But on this Kung Fu movie thing, do you remember a Chuck Norris movie called Sidekick?
Of course I did. Doesn't it have the kid from Deep Quest? No, Deep Quest. I don't know that I've seen that movie. What is it? Sequest. It's the Sequest show. It's the kid that played the main character in It, the first It. That's what. And he's like the Karate Kid.
Well,
but Chuck Norris is like his sensei.
Chuck Norris is his idol. He's got asthma and he gets picked on in school, and his mom had passed away like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just him and his dad. Well, he ends up getting picked on by these bullies like Karate Kid from another like dojo, and he finds a Mr. Miyagi type character, and it's basically Karate Kid except for he ends up, it's a team competition with his Mr. Miyagi guy, his daughter, this guy, and then they end up getting Chuck Norris to compete with him. And the only reason is because Chuck Norris hates the leader of that other dojo. He like has a rivalry with him, and so he joins their team to be their fourth team member or whatever. And but it's the thing that's cool though is this kid has daydreams and fantasies where he's with Chuck Norris in some of these movies. And do you remember this?
Yes. No, I remember.
And it's like I want to say it's like Enter the Dragon's one of them, and like whoa, is it Behind Enemy Lines? Is that the one that Chuck Norris did where he's like
Jonathan Brandis is the kid's name.
What's the Chuck Norris movies where he's I want to say it's Behind Enemy Lines.
Chuck Norris was in a lot of movies, but
what's the big ones? Is it Behind Enemy Lines?
No,
I keep saying
in Delta Force.
Okay, yeah.
And Missing in Action.
Missing in Action is the ones that
I'm thinking of. And then my personal favorite, Invasion USA, which is like Red Dawn if like the kids that were Wolverines were like fucking Rambo. Because it's the same plot. Like somebody comes and invades the America, but instead of like a underground like teenager brigade of the Wolverines, it's just Chuck Norris with a couple of Uzis, and he goes and just fucking ends the onslaught by himself. No,
it's fantastic.
Yeah,
the Missing in Action movies are fucking
with
great.
Denim on denim. That's what he's wearing. I fucking love it. Denim vest.
If I'm not mistaken, don't you have to watch like Missing in Action 2, 3, and then go back and watch 1? Because they do 1 and then they make prequels like after that, like 2 and 3 are actually prequels.
Okay, so I have to say that I'm not that deep into Chuck Norris.
Dude, I love some...
Also, Chuck Norris is pretty much a terrible person. Like I love...
is he?
Yes, he is. He's like super...
He's Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah, I know. He's also super Trump Ranger.
Oh, is he suck Trump's dick?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's all just gargling the balls of Trump. So, like...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when your idols are like... I mean, he's never my idol,
it sucks
but still...
that he's like an asshole, I guess. Like, that he thinks that way. But,
he's also like big in the Boy Scouts and very like...
Well, the Boy Scouts is a good organization.
No, the Boy Scouts are very homophobic. Like, very homophobic.
You can't fault things, right? Like, I think the Boy Scouts just... Okay, they might be homophobic, but they do teach a lot of good things. And they do a lot of good things for good people. And, like, just because they are homophobic don't mean that you shit on the whole thing. And I think that that's a problem that people have. And like, I don't think we should do that. But anyway, like,
but they're really bad.
That's a thing on them. I guess that sucks. You know,
like gay
guess
people
what? You don't fucking recycle, you piece of shit. Like, fuck you, Brandon.
Gay people can't be Boy Scouts.
Like, you know what? Shit. You know what? But you think I understand that you think that gay people should be Boy Scouts, but you don't fucking recycle. So fuck you. Everything that you care about that's good don't fucking matter. You do one bad thing and you're a piece of shit. I just want to set the precedent.
Did you? Way to go over the fucking top.
Hey, that's what we do.
Ooh, over the top. No, that's Stallone. Stallone. Hey, that's a great movie too.
I love this 80 movies talk because
this is not where we were going.
No,
with the podcast,
not at all. But I just
originally in our heads.
You know what movie I've been thinking about since we've been talking about this that I watched as a little kid, and I love. Maybe this is like nostalgia movie day or something.
Maybe.
A lot of these movies I watched on the Fox Saturday matinee. Okay. Where they would be on TV. Like, I'd never seen these like without commercials until like recently. Like, I'd watch them later on for nostalgia purposes because I'd seen them as a little kid and remembered them. Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's a great popcorn flick.
Like, dude, like that, like he's going out trying to save his daughter, and he like ends up breaking into like a what he like has like, is it like an FBI agent or somebody or a cop with him, and he like breaks into like a sporting goods store, and the guy just has like RPGs or something. I don't even remember, but all of a sudden Arnold has RPGs and shit. Like, he just like robs this store of all their weapons, and they just have everything: grenades, rockets, like whatever the fuck you need to take on a whole fucking terrorist operation or whatever. But
yeah, no, he like. I mean, he takes out like a third world nation's entire military, and
it's fucking awesome.
I don't. It's like Nicaragua or something. It was just like
the whole thing is cool. Like him going through the early part of it, the setup, and then like all the way to the end where there's the big action scene. They just don't make fucking action movies like that.
Well, yeah, they do. They what they did is they took all of them. Yeah, the Expendables is a really good modern interpretation. But what they had to do is they had to go and get those stars from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and throw them all in the same movie, because you're right. Outside of maybe Jason Statham, like maybe
he's old, like
maybe Clive Owen. Like, I'm just trying to think of like Liam Neeson, but he's old too.
I think like you may be able to throw like some of the Marvel guys in, right? Like I know that the guy who plays for Chris Hemsworth, he did that Netflix show where he got it, and that was a really good action flick. Did you see that one? I can't think of the fucking name of it. I'm so pissed. I do this shit all the time. I watch movies. He plays like a I don't know, mercenary for hire type guy.
Nope.
Let me see if I can find the name.
I got nothing, man.
But I guess like Hemsworth would be one. Maybe like maybe like all the Marvel people, like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and then like you throw in like another Chris, like Chris Pine.
like Mark Ruffalo.
I don't think Ruffalo. No.
No, that was a joke. I'm serious though. Like,
no, I mean,
it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
and Robert Downey Jr. is not a action star.
No, not at all.
I would totally get down on an action movie starring Ant-Man. And why can't I think of Ant-Man's
Paul
name?
Rudd.
Thank you. He's delightful.
I could probably see that. I'm excited.
I could not. I was joking.
I could. I mean, dude, did you see like what's his name? What's fucking goddamn Guardians of the Galaxy? Chris Pratt. There's so many Chris's.
No, Chris.
Could you see Chris Pratt playing like even like Star-Lord?
Chris Pratt plays an amazing Star-Lord. I could totally. He had to get jacked. But he did get jacked. Yeah. And like now.
And Red's jacked. And like, if Red played a little bit more serious.
He's literally the same character as he was in Parks and Rec, just jacked and now named Star-Lord. And that's okay. But I'm waiting for this Hemsworth movie thing.
It's called Extraction. And
oh, okay.
And he's like, he plays a soldier trying to get something out. I think it's a person. And or maybe it's like I don't remember. He's Ben Affleck, but it was really good. It was
Ben Affleck's action movies have been good. I've never had a problem with Ben Affleck as an action star.
I know we kind of were switching topics again, but Affleck rocked it in The Town.
Yeah,
that movie's legit,
dude. He was the bomb in Phantom, Joe.
He was the bomb.
He was the bomb in Phantoms, man.
Yeah.
But he's like in Paycheck.
That's
and Paycheck's like a good popcorn flick.
Okay.
Some of All Fears, which is I know a lot of people shit on Some of All Fears, but I think it's one of the better Jack Ryan movies.
Love it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The bomb goes off in this one, and to me, it shocked the shit out of me the first time I seen it.
Yeah.
So I think I brought this up. Like this, Some of All Fears, Black Hawk Down. They were movies that I watched all the time when I stayed home from school from sick.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Stayed home from school sick.
What's his... Oh, shit. That we were talking about action stars. Like Russell Crowe, which is older now, right?
Yeah.
And he's gotten pretty chunky, so he's not that guy anymore. But the guy that's in... Oh, my God, this is killing me. Gladiator, Maximum Decimus Meridius.
Oh, Joaquin Phoenix.
Was Russell Crowe Gladiator?
Yes.
So not Joaquin Phoenix, not Russell Crowe. Man, it's like we don't do this for a living. Right? Who am I thinking of? The Ugly Truth.
The Ugly Truth.
Yeah, the guy from The Ugly Truth. I know that's a rom-com and it's not necessarily the action movie that we're talking about.
Oh.
He's in the one where he's always protecting the president.
Yeah, the Angels movie, like
Angel is Fallen,
Olympia's Fallen. Yeah.
Gerard
Butler.
Thank you.
There it is. Glad I thought of that. You're welcome.
You did not think of it. I did. But Gerard Butler is a major action star in this day.
Okay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to name one movie, one good action movie from the 80s, from the 90s, and from the 2010s.
2010s, but not the 2000s? Not 2000 to 2010?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, 2000, 2010. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The first decade.
So you want me to name an 80s action flick?
Yeah.
That we didn't already talk about?
We could have already talked about it. Just what do you think is one that like people are underlooking and not checking out? That you've watched as younger and you think is pretty good?
Oh, man. An 80s flick that we didn't already talk about. Okay, I'm going to go 90s.
Okay. What's 90s?
Under Siege.
Okay. Under Siege is good. That's Steven Seagal, right?
Or Navy SEALs. Actually, no. We'd have to Google this, but I think Navy SEALs was 1989.
Let me see. I'll check.
Which would be fantastic for my point. But Navy SEALs is fantastic. The other one would be basically between 2000 and 2010.
Yeah. Underrated. One that maybe people wouldn't know.
Ooh, underrated though? I don't know. Is The Rock underrated? Because I love The Rock.
That's a 90s movie.
Is it? Was it late 90s?
That was 98, 99. I'm pretty sure.
Because it's
1990 on Navy SEALs.
Oh, but it was being recorded in 89, so that counts.
I don't think it does. Not for this. Yeah.
The Navy SEALs was fantastic.
The Rock is 96.
So in The Rock and in Navy SEALs and in Aliens 2, the leader of them is a guy, and I don't know his name, and I probably shouldn't, but he always plays the SEAL commander. And he plays the SEAL commander in Navy SEALs. He plays the SEAL commander that helps Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery infiltrate The Rock. And then they get slaughtered that's a great scene. It sucks because they get slaughtered, but like it is a great scene. But in the shower room, right? And he's also Corporal Hicks in Aliens 2. And he is basically anytime that there's an action movie and he's like a SEAL team leader, you know it's going to be a good action movie. Yeah.
No, he's great.
So, but you're still looking for an 80s movie.
Still looking for an 80s. What'd you say for the 2000s?
I listed 3 90s movies, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I am a 90s kid.
I said
we
80s.
talked about like an action movie. Does it have to be like war?
No, it could just be an action movie.
Okay, it's fresh in my head, and we'll explain why it's fresh in my head. But Blade is a 90s movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck,
yeah,
man.
That was 98. 98 or 99.
I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I wonder if that means there was just a lack of them, and like maybe you just like
I was
also
just watching a shitload of these in the 90s.
You probably watched different stuff. You were older,
from
like you were college, like high school, college.
From 1990 to 2000, like I was 5 to 15, and that's a really good time to watch some action because I was still playing soldiers, right?
I actually
But Black Hawk Down is a fantastic movie. We Were Soldiers is a fantastic movie. But these are really more war movies and less like
Like action movies.
Yeah, when I think of action, I think of like a main antagonist and a main protagonist.
Well, just for example,
80s. Big Trouble in Little China.
See, that's awesome.
Or fuck man, Tango and Cash.
That's good too.
That's a 90s movie or an 80s movie.
I was going to say like you could say any of the Arnold movies. Like if you really go back and watch like Running Man, or Commando.
I think Running Man was 70s.
Like no, I think it was 80s.
The original
I think it was
Predator.
81. The original Predator is probably the best Predator. Like to be real honest.
It is. Get to the chopper.
I do think that the second Predator is really underrated, and Danny Glover fucking killed that. Like,
oh yeah,
like I thought that was great.
For anybody that hasn't watched the Predator or have
Predator
only
or
watched,
Predator 2,
or have only watched the new Predator movies, you need to go back because you don't know what you're missing.
And don't watch the Alien versus Predator movies; they suck.
Yes,
like they're not very good.
I actually don't like any of the Alien movies outside of Aliens 2.
No, Alien 1 is good. Aliens is good. It's not called Alien 2, it's called Aliens. But
you know what else is another really good action movie? An action movie that is just like and it's not supposed to be an action movie, but it ends up being an action movie, a horror movie, and a comedy movie all at the same time. My prom night. After prom, me and my girlfriend went and saw Jason X. The one where he's in space.
So this has one of the best kill scenes out of any movie in it. Is whenever the campers in the holodeck, and he like literally there's these girls and they're like all hitting on Jason when he's all souped up in his Jason X.
Yeah,
thing.
but they're fake.
They're fake. They're holographics. But he ends up taking one of them and shoving him in a sleeping bag, and then beating the shit out of the other two with the one in the sleeping bag, and then wrapping that one around a tree. It's one of the coolest fucking death scenes I've ever seen.
There's another one where he throws one of the like space marines that were coming to protect them. He like throws him on a drill, like he throws him off a balcony, and he lands on this weird drill, and the guy just like lands and gets impaled by the drill, right? And then you just see him slowly turn because because of the threads and the like screw, and it just sees this body going. Yes,
and he just starts sliding down. Yeah,
it's so dope. And then they give like Uber. They call him Uber Jason or whatever. Like he goes in and gets like a metal face. And shit.
Yeah, it's like the nanobites fixed him up and fixed him up to where he's like now super powered.
But that's not really a horror movie. Like
that's a sci-fi movie.
There's a couple jump gags, but in general, it's like Jason in space against space marines.
I do think that's a 2000 movie though. But
yeah, no, it was my prom, so it was 2003.
It would have been 2003. You're right.
So I think I've like through like 14 movies that I've thrown at you. I think I've hit both or all three.
I would like decades. So that the 90s one I would have definitely threw out. Like there's a ton of good 90s action movies that people don't talk about, and oh fuck! Why my brain just went fucking blank?
That's been happening to us a lot lately. Not just this episode. Like
no.
For those of you that have been with us the last 3 episodes, it seems like we've got our Google just
everything.
Spinning.
Like maybe I need to cut back on my medication or something. I don't fucking know, but
I think mine's just old age.
I think that's mine. Mine is just not as fast on my feet.
I was a sharper man in my 20s. I was sharper in wit, sharper in looks. I was just sharper. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Here's a good 90s one that I watched the other day that I really liked. The Postman.
Oh,
underrated,
Postman. Yes.
Good action movie.
So that movie's actually got panned, right?
I know it did, and it's
between
Waterworld
and The Postman, it almost ruined Kevin Costner.
Oh, also Soldier, starring Kurt Russell, pretty good. He's like a specially enhanced person, and he grew up his whole life as a soldier, and gets thrown out for the new models. They thought he died.
Universal
Soldier is good too. Jean-Claude Van Damme and
Dolph Lundgren.
Yes. Man, there's a lot. I just pulled them up here. Spawn, pretty good movie. Dragonheart, the original. They've made a lot of Dragonheart movies.
Yeah, but the original was Sean Connery voicing the
pretty
dragon.
Good. Pretty good for a fantasy flick. Not bad. Probably, I don't even know if this is considered an action movie. But I'll throw out there Stargate. I don't know if it is an action movie or not.
And Bruce Willis is a hell of an action star. I mean, because we were trying to talk about ones that don't get talked about a lot. Because Die Hard is that's the epitome of action, right?
And then The Shadow.
The Shadow knows.
Like, you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, you're talking about the comic book hero.
Yes, absolutely. And where he actually has like
a
powers
hero before there were like, comic book movies. There was the Phantom, and then there was like Shadow.
They're comic book movies.
Yeah,
people
they
just
are.
Didn't know about them.
Yeah, Blade.
They were
people didn't even realize Blade was a
comic
comic
book.
They're like
50 nostalgia pieces.
They had no idea that there was. What about
But 2000s though? Oh, I got to throw out their Fifth Element. But Fifth Element to me is one of the best movies of all time. But 2000, I wanted to talk about one that I never hear nobody bring this up. Oh fuck! It's called. I can't. It's something chill. God damn it! I can tell you everything about
Chill
this.
Factor.
Chill Factor.
With Cuba Gooding Jr.
and Skeet
Ulrich.
Yes, love that movie. Where they got to keep that thing. It's almost like Speed, right? They got to keep the fucking virus from getting so hot, and so they got to keep it on ice.
Which you just named another like 90s.
Oh, Speed.
Right.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is another action star that's getting up there. But
that movie's pretty well known. Like, I mean, they've had a sequel and like people know about it.
And now there's like a John Wick, and that's like, he's a badass. And Matrix is also really well known. But Keanu Reeves has made a living off being an action star.
But Cuba Gooding Jr. won the Academy Award.
Not for Chill Factor.
No, for Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
But then I think he a couple movies later did this movie, and this was when Skeet Ulrich was supposed to be a star, and this movie never took off, and but it was really good. Another one. This is a '90s movie. Went to the theater and seen this. Broken Arrow.
Yeah. No. John Travolta and Christian Slater.
Fucking movie.
Yeah, and it's got if I remember correctly, it's got Howie Long in it.
Howie Long's first fucking movie.
Yeah, Howie Long, yes, in which brings us over to another Ben Affleck movie. Howie Long was also in Reindeer Games.
Oh yeah,
which is another action. I mean, so yeah, I guess the list goes on, right? Like if our listeners
give these movies a chance, because they kind of seem like period pieces almost, because the technology and stuff is like set up just what they would have back in the day.
The effects are significantly more practical.
And they kind of hold up. They're not terrible.
No, but that's because fire is fire. I mean,
they're practical effects.
It does go with the trope that everything explodes, right? Which is not necessarily the case. Like every time that there's like a car crash, there's not like a fireball and a big explosion, but there is in movies, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm totally for those tropes. I missed that.
I think that's why I wanted to bring it up. Is because like we were talking about it, and it's like all we have is these Marvel movies and comic book movies is kind of like taking up the action genre. We don't get like really good action flicks. Even the action flicks are like some kind of war movie that are kind of dramatic, and not like a Commando or something.
Which totally takes us to a movie that I think if you haven't seen. Me and you need to go to the theater and see, and that's Nobody.
Oh, I do want to kind of see that.
Yeah,
Nobody looks... actually, not kind of. I really want to see that.
Nobody looks fantastic.
Who's the star in that? It's the guy from Breaking Bad. He played Sal, and he's from, Better Call Saul or whatever.
Yeah, not an action star.
No, but he like whoops ass. It looks like he whoops ass. There's another action movie that I wanted to see that kind of has a horror element to it.
By the way, that's Bob Odenkirk. Yes, Bob Odenkirk. It's also got Christopher Lloyd in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, I haven't seen that guy in a while.
I thought he was dead.
I'm
going to be honest.
Christopher Lloyd, for everybody who don't know, from Back to the Future fame.
Yes, absolutely.
Played Doc, fill in the rate, Doc, Back to the Future. He played Doc. Brandon, I'm looking at you.
I know, he played Doc in Back to the Future. I hear you.
Doc who, though? God damn it.
Why do you do that to yourself? That's not even important to the podcast.
It is to me, though.
Yeah, now it's going to ingrain in my head. Like, it's going to bother me. It's Doc Brown.
It's Doc fucking Brown,
yeah,
yes.
No, you were Googling it, and I thought of it. But
either way. But this is how smartphones are. I literally typed in Doc, and it just goes, it's Doc fucking Brown. That's what my phone said.
Doc Brown,
Google's just like, it's Doc Brown, you dumb fuck.
But Christopher Lloyd, probably best known for his antics on a show, Taxi. And then also he was on a show called Stacked, starring Pamela Anderson. So about a bookstore.
Man, we were talking. I wanted to talk about TV shows from back in the day.
So we want to talk about Stacked.
No, this brings up a Pamela Anderson TV show back in the day that I used to watch.
Oh shit, VIP. That show was terrible.
Valerie Ireland's Protection. It was a spinoff. It was in the same universe as Baywatch. Because David Hasselhoff from Baywatch would show up as the fucking dude. I can't think of his name. Not going to Google this one because I don't care. But off the dude from Baywatch, he played
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, but that wasn't his name in Baywatch. I forget his name. Mitch Buchanan.
Why do I know that?
Why did you know that and not Doc Brown?
You know, because I've watched the Baywatch movie and his name is The Rock's name is Mitch Buchanan.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to listen to this and go, that fucker still watches Baywatch, that little pervert. I don't. But yeah, no. So Pamela Anderson, if it wasn't for Kim Kardashian, is there another sex tape that's made anyone more famous? Like, that girl would have just disappeared if it wasn't for the fact that she put out a sex tape. And Kim Kardashian puts out a sex tape and becomes like
she was
royalty.
Like,
Paris Hilton did it, but like I haven't heard anything about Paris Hilton in years.
Pamela Anderson was like the first one. She was like, super famous for being hot and having huge tits. Like, and then like she got on Baywatch, and then she got, everybody
she
thought
was on Playboy a few times.
Then she went to Playboy, and then after Baywatch was over, she did like, what was that movie she did? Action movie from the 90s.
Barbed Wire.
Barbed Wire.
Well, there was another one too, but Barbed Wire is the one that comes.
Barbed Wire is the one that I remember, because she had the barbed wire tattoo, and I remember everybody started getting those barbed wire tattoos, and they seen the movie. And
I don't think that was because of Pamela Anderson.
I think it was. I think they seen that movie and they're like,
no, because there was like dudes with barbed wire, like.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I remember
the 90s was a crazy time, people.
Yeah, no, seriously. Lots of there's going to be people that talk about that, right? Like, people talk about the 70s and the 80s and like Studio 54 and like how everybody was doing cocaine and stuff. And like, I just get the feeling that in like 15 years, when we're like 50, we're going to talk about how crazy the like 90s and the early 2000s
Dude, the 90s was fucking crazy.
Like, it was a crazy time. Everybody wore chains on their wallets.
Well, I watched Varsity Blues the other day. Fantastic movie.
No, that one holds up. We've talked about that.
Watching their clothes and their style, where everyone wear these like really baggy jeans, and like the Jinko boots, that they used to wear, Doc Martens and Jinkos and like Jinko jeans, and like all those like Skechers shoes, like real fat, real heavy, and it's just like, damn, I can't believe I probably used to dress like that. Like,
well, I know I had Jinkos.
I know I did too.
I know I had Jinkos, and I know that I had like really baggy clothes.
I know I used to think really baggy was in style because that's the way Coolio dressed.
And it was so much better. I mean, it's irritating now because now it's all like skinny jeans and tight shit. And like, now I'm fat. Like, back then, like, I had a physique that it would have been totally okay to wear skinny jeans. I'd have looked great. But now it's like I put skinny jeans on, and it's like I'm like forcing myself into to quote, was it Michael Cera? He's like, there's just not pants where there should be pants. Like, I can see
when Jonah Hill's tried on.
Like, I can see your ball sack. Yeah. Oh man.
So funny.
So, well, this has been fun, Tyler. I didn't expect any of this conversation. We had it, guys. We
actually sat down and planned, and then we didn't use it.
We didn't use any of it.
I don't know if we'll ever plan again.
No, I think, actually, to be honest with you, I think that this going against the plan and being, anti-establishment, anti-organization, little anarchy, I think it's great.
Are we done? Have we went for an hour?
Oh, hell no, we're not done. Besides, we've got something else to talk about.
Oh, we
do. Something we did earlier today that is super fantastic. I was very excited that we got an opportunity to do this, and we got to guest host on another podcast.
It was cool. It was really, those guys were Cine Skrew'd, name of the podcast.
Yep, Cine Skrew'd with Chris and Pat. It was a trip, man. So for those of you that are looking for other podcasts, Cine Skrew'd does a whole lot of movie reviews, a whole lot of cinema, and we got to guest host on their MCU podcast. And we did exactly to them, and these guys are professionals, but we did exactly to them that we do to ourselves. And they went in and they told us the plan, and they said, this is what we're going to talk about, and this is what we're going to do. And the podcast is going to last about 30 to 40 minutes, and it's going to be very cohesive and very coherent. And then we went in there
and we fucked it all up.
We
and
fucking wrecked it.
It went for like over an hour.
In a 30-second span, we talked about the new Mortal Kombat movie, the Solid Snake possible movie starring Oscar Isaacs, and then all of a sudden we were talking about the Evil Dead, and this was an MCU podcast, and it was just like, what the fuck are we even talking about?
But it should be out the same day as this one, though. It should
it's going to drop
on Wednesday. So if you like us, those guys are really cool, and you definitely check them out. Like
that's the Cine Skrew'd Podcast, and I believe that's CineSkrew'd, Cine Skrew'd, and you can listen to that in a lot of different places that you can listen to us.
You'll find a link for them down below. We'll put it in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll probably throw it up on Facebook as well.
We're hoping to do some more collaborating with those guys, be on their podcast again, and having them on, maybe do some one-on-one stuff. Like we're not really sure. So.
Chris and Patrick let us talk a lot more than I expected that they would after they heard us talk.
Yeah, I know, right?
They listen to our podcast and then they go, we should have those guys on. And like the first thought in my head is like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Not because we're bad podcasters by any means, but like we talk over each other sometimes, and we're never can stay on topic. And so like, they're like, man, like our podcast, that's what it's designed for, right? Like this podcast is about nothing. Like we can talk about whatever we want. We're in control of our own domain. But those guys,
they had an idea.
They let the lions out of the cage.
Yeah.
It was like, come to our kingdom.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was a lot of fun. I think the podcast was good. I think it was really entertaining.
No, it was, and I really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with them today. So that'll post on Wednesday, and you guys should definitely check it out right after you listen to this podcast. And maybe one day we'll get them on our pod.
Oh, that's going to happen eventually.
Yeah, that's got to happen.
They're cool guys.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to talk more about TV shows that we didn't talk about. We got on it. We talked about Valley Iron Protection VIP, but I didn't even want to talk about that one. So like we got to talk about.
Okay. So, go on.
All right, Kung Fu. That was one that I watched all the time.
Okay.
So do you remember like Fox's like Friday night lineup? Like.
No.
All right.
I mean, I remember a lot of shows on Fox, but go ahead. Because every Fox notoriously cancels shit.
Yes.
Right.
But they also had good shit. So like it would be like X-Files, like Kung Fu, and then I want to say it was like Highlander, and then like Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess.
Okay, I watched a lot of Hercules and Xena when I was a kid.
I watched a lot of those too. I wouldn't mind going back and rewatching those, see how they hold up.
I think remember they'd still be okay. Watching Highlander, although I probably couldn't even pick the main character out of a lineup. It's super vague. I must have been 8 or 9.
He's Duncan MacLeod, but
I know who Duncan MacLeod is, but that is the Highlander.
Yeah, but
it wasn't. Was it Christopher Lambert?
No,
it wasn't the same Highlander from like the movie.
No.
Okay.
And I don't think he had the same name actually. It's Duncan in the movie.
Duncan MacLeod.
Who was it in the show?
Duncan MacLeod.
No, I don't think it was. Now that I think about it, because
there can be only one. You know that's like one of very few movies that Sean Connery actually dies on screen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, then there are movies that he dies, but there's very few movies that he dies on screen, and that's one of the very few.
He is Duncan MacLeod.
He is Duncan MacLeod. Yeah. So
but, it's not the same universe, but I thought they met each other at one point, but maybe they didn't. I thought maybe they were different.
I thought it was the same character.
I don't think it is. Now that I think about it, I think maybe it's just an ancestor, and he was named Duncan after the other Duncan, and but he ends up having the gift too.
Okay.
And
I'll buy it.
I think that's the way they did
I'll buy it.
They're in a movie together.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. It's like Highlander 4 or 5. Like,
they're just like bring everybody together.
Yeah, they got them together.
I mean, what was Christopher Lambert really doing? I mean, he played Raiden. He played Raiden once, and
underestimated. I like Christopher Lambert.
Yeah,
I liked Highlander movies. Those are some we could have brought up. I think the first one was in the 80s, and then the rest of them were in the 90s.
Yeah, but the first one I thought was legitimately like awesome, and then the rest were like sequels.
Highlander 2 was good, and then the Highlander: The Final Dimension was really good.
I didn't even know that was a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna endorse that.
Yeah, well, you should, because it won the award.
Tyler does not speak for the entire critically unacclaimed
It won
podcast.
the fucking award, okay?
What award did?
Best fucking movie ever goddamn made. No.
What was it? Did you say Final Dimension?
Yeah.
Highlander, The Final Dimension.
Yeah.
Best Picture, 1987.
No, it definitely did not.
No, it didn't. I know it didn't. I know, Tyler. We were watching something on YouTube earlier, and I was mentioning Willem Dafoe. Platoon. Platoon is a great action flick.
Yeah, everybody knows Platoon.
Yeah, I know.
Platoon is one of those movies.
And then also Boondock Saints.
Okay, Boondock Saints I'll give you. That's
but
probably
it's
2000.
That's a cult. That's a cult classic.
That's a cult classic,
Yeah.
I'd say. Platoon is an all-time film classic.
Oh shit! The Big Hit.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one.
With Mark Wahlberg. Oh my God!
Go
Okay,
blank.
Mark Wahlberg, Christina Applegate, and Lou Diamond Phillips. He plays a hitman that is trying to get out of the game. He's trying to get married. He has to
Lou Diamond Phillips does?
No, Mark Wahlberg is the
Wahlberg
protagonist. Does? Yes, Lou Diamond Phillips is actually the bad guy. But there's actually a Michael Clark. No, not Michael Clark Duncan. You know what? It doesn't matter. There's a lot of people that ended up doing movies later. The Big Hit is from 1995.
All right.
And it's Mark Wahlberg's first major picture.
All of this, I'm just thinking about old movies I watched.
And it's fantastic.
I got to bring up this movie. Here's the problem, and I need the unclaimers' help with this. I've done several amounts of research, and I just cannot find this movie.
Okay.
To be able to tell what it's called.
Okay, I'll probably be able to tell you. So go ahead.
I don't think you can.
Oh, I think I can.
Okay, it's got to be from the 70s.
Okay.
It's about these kids,
Uh-huh.
and they do a lot of drugs, and they end up rebelling, and taking over this it's back in the 70s. It's 70s or early 80s, and they rebel. And they take over this whole construction site, and they're fighting all the parents, and they're fighting the school. And it's this and they all get arrested at the end, and as they're all in the bus going to juvie, all the kids are cheering for them because they're still their heroes. And the kid had just moved there. I think the main guy had just moved to the town. He's young,
Nope.
maybe 12.
I have no idea.
And they get chased by the police and shit. Dude, I've looked it up. And the movie that they keep referring to, it's not that movie. And so
I'm thinking of there's two movies in my head that are fantastic, that are kind of along with that trope. One is Toy Soldiers. Toy Soldiers is...
That's the one where they're at a private school.
Yeah,
and terrorists
take over. But
good movie.
Good movie.
See, this is why we have conversations.
The other
I want to watch Toy Soldiers again.
Yes.
That's one that I need to rewatch.
Toy Soldiers are fantastic. And if you watch Toy Soldiers, the next movie that you should watch is Taps. Taps is a military academy that they
I've seen that one too.
Yes, it gets shut down, and that one's got Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And the big line is when he's sitting up there and he's in one of the corner offices of this military academy. He's got a machine gun and he's just going just waylaying with a machine gun. He's like, "It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful," and it's fucking intense and it's great. So those are the two movies that came to mind whenever I saw that. And then the other one was Class of 1984. And Class of 1984 came out in 1981.
This was man, I've looked it up.
Cyborg teachers, Tyler.
They give me a movie, and it's not it. And I know that everybody is going to tell me that the movie that I'm thinking of is the movie that it's not. But I wish I knew the name of that movie. But I've watched that movie, and it's just not that one. I looked it up. Thought that was it, watched it. It's not the movie. And I remember a specific scene in this movie where this kid looks to buy some weed, and the guy doesn't have any, but he has hash instead. So the kid gets hash, and he fucking gets really fucking stoned and fucking walks around on hash, and he gets picked up by the cops. And it's man, that guy's just trying to be stoned and live his life. And then that's one of the things that pisses them all off. And but I can't remember the name of the fucking movie. You want to know what's crazy? My grandma, who's super fucking religious and never heard her say a swear word or curse word or anything in her life, doesn't like violence or swearing and anything she watches on TV, had this movie on VHS, as it was recorded off something else. And I don't know why she had it, but I remember putting it in and watching it over at her house. Still never knew the name of that movie. Been looking my whole fucking life.
All right, guys, unacclaimers. Is that what we're calling our
unacclaimers?
Yeah.
I
love it. Okay, unacclaimers.
See if you can help me with that. If you know what movie I'm talking about, if anybody's big movie, I should ask Chris or Patrick. They might know.
Yeah,
like they're pretty way more movie smart on that kind of stuff.
100 critically unacclaimed points to the one that can listen to this podcast and then find the name of the movie that Tyler's talking about.
Hey,
that's
you know what?
100 critically unacclaimed points. That's 100 CU points. That's worth approximately $1.17.
And you know what?
But we will be internally grateful.
We're gonna double it if you get
200.
But if you DM us by Saturday on Facebook or on Twitter at Unacclaimed Pod.
You're also going to earn yourself a shout out. Is what's going to happen. Is we're going to shout you out next week
buttons.
on the podcast.
We have those buttons. Let's mail them a button.
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely going to mail you. some swag.
You'll get some swag. You'll get get a button swag.
Send us the name of the movie, and
stickers.
if we tell you you're correct, we'll get your address. We'll send you over a sticker.
We're working on stickers and we're working on buttons.
200 critically unacclaimed points plus a button.
Cha-ching!
Put it in the bank.
Hit it again. Yeah, producer Brandon.
Yeah, sound plugs. Greyson doesn't do that shit.
What else are we gonna do?
No, so we went to that other podcast and we've bounced around.
Oh, you want to talk about our side projects we're working on?
I do want to talk about the side projects, and I would really, really, really like to hear about yours.
Well, mine's still in development, so let's hear about yours.
You're not going to talk about it at all?
Well, so everybody knows that I'm a big nerd, right? Everybody knows that
at this point, I believe that everyone can concur.
So I really want to do something that is just completely focused on on nerd and fantasy stuff. So this is going to be a fantasy podcast.
Okay.
Talking a lot about like fantasy stuff that's going on in the fantasy realm with probably the Lord of the Rings show coming up.
Okay.
But it's gonna specialize and do deep dives into Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. And I'm putting that together. Grayson's going to help me get it started, and then that's coming. I got a title and stuff picked out, but that'll all come later. But that's what it's going to be about. And we're going to probably review, like I'm going to be reviewing the new Game of Thrones show coming out, and then I'm also going to be reviewing the new Lord of the Rings show coming out, and probably like Witcher.
So you're going to go back and do the old episodes of Game of Thrones as well?
Yep. Yeah. Well, we're going to. Maybe that's all been done. I'm not going to really do that.
Okay.
I really want to kind of dig into the lore and the kind of the differences in between the show and the books.
Okay.
And dig into the differences in the characters and really do a backstory, because one of my favorite things about Lord of the Rings, all that kind of stuff, like Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, is like the history and like knowing like the houses, knowing like where these people are on the map, like their connection to the main like great houses, like the main characters, Lannister, Starks, whoever, and stuff like that. And I know they do that. There's YouTube videos and stuff on it, but there's never been like I haven't really found for myself, and I look for all this kind of stuff, just like good deep dive into it where you can just listen to it for like like an hour and a half about the house of Podrick Payne and like all of his family members.
Are you sold on Greyson being your producer after you've seen my producing chops this episode?
Well, Greyson is really just going to help me get it started, and he'll probably produce some a little bit. I know Greyson really likes this kind of stuff, but I will say this: Greyson knows how to make those theme songs and shit, and I don't know if you can do that. You're doing pretty good. I'm going to say like. There was a little rough start, getting started. We took a little bit, but after that, everything's really hammered out, and it's been really smooth.
I thought it's been really, really smooth. But I do agree that
I would keep your application.
We say all of this.
I would keep your application on hand in case it doesn't work out.
I appreciate what you're saying, but we know what's going to happen, and what's going to happen is Greyson's going to come back, right? And we're going to give Greyson the. We're going to give Greyson the SD card and be like, hey, man, can you turn this?
Yes.
Can you plug in all the sound cues and everything?
Yeah.
Can you fix our voice and stuff?
Yeah.
So all I really am as a producer is I have the recorder.
Yes.
And I've got the button.
Greyson still produces
I have the caching.
Even though he's not here, he's definitely still the producer.
He's still the technical director by all means.
Yes.
He's the sound director. He is the electronics specialist. And I am a guy that pushed this button 5 times.
It's just like on the Cine Skrew'd podcast. They were trying to tell us like what we could do to help our mic because we were doing it online. It was online virtual.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, like I don't know what the fuck. Like our tech guy is gone. Like he's on vacation, and you got us dumbasses. Like I don't know if we can figure this out or not. Like I'm real honest with you.
But we did. We figured it out.
It seemed like it worked.
But I'll be honest. I think there was a certain point that he just goes,
"Oh fuck it,
fuck it. We'll just fix it in post."
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to do what Greyson does and fixes it.
So, well, dude, that's awesome.
So what's yours? I know yours is more further along. You're getting ready to go with yours.
So mine is a little bit more further along.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it better, Tyler.
I didn't say that.
but I'm about to.
Oh. Okay.
So no. So mine's my passion project that I'm doing out solo. I feel like we're not. I love the fact that we're not breaking up the band, but we're all going to go with solo careers at this point. When Greyson gets back, can we ask him what his solo project's going to be? Yeah, see what he's going to be.
But go ahead and tell yours, then I want to talk about that.
Okay, so mine has a title.
Yeah,
it's called Interview with A.
Okay,
Interview with A. So for those of you that listen to the podcast, for those of you that are new to the podcast. There are a lot of political themes in our podcasts, not as of late, but I think generally we feel a lot better about the political climate than we did 5 weeks ago.
I mean, the first 5 episodes I think was up in the air.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, we started this in January, and January 6th happened like literally the week after, and then all shit just fucking went off the map. But either way, I'm pretty steep in my views, right? But I also relish listening to others and their viewpoints, whether that be spiritual, political, social. Like, I just want to know where other people are coming from, especially people that are off the original like scope, the norms, if you will. So
people you don't talk to every day, right? Not
every day, or people that you might not even know, and you have assumptions based on stereotypes about how they live. Or what they think, or what their political ties are, or why they even believe in what they believe in. So I am going to do a podcast where I believe I'm going to put out 2 a month, one every other week. Starting Wednesday. So Wednesday's going to be a really busy day for people that like hearing mine and your voices.
I like my,
But
I think I'm going to be on the
my first episode is starring a gentleman named Patrick Stewart, who we've talked about getting onto this podcast.
Unacclaimer.
He is definitely an unacclaimer.
And more than likely probably will at one point.
But that's actually, it's posted now, but I'm going to thicken up the old podcast profile and clean it all up.
Nice.
But it is Interview with an Anarchist. Patrick believes that he's a true anarchist, and you would be really surprised at what that viewpoint actually means based on how Patrick talks. It is definitely, going into it, I thought I had an idea of what anarchy meant, and I mean, I'm wrong, or I was wrong, or at least I was wrong in what Patrick believes it is. And I don't consider myself an anarchist. Patrick considers himself an anarchist. So I'm going to leave him as the subject matter expert.
Interesting.
So that's going to be the first episode, Interview with an Anarchist. The podcast name is Interview with A, and every other week I'm going to try to get somebody with either an opposing viewpoint or kind of an out there viewpoint. And when I say out there, I don't mean like bad. I just mean one that you don't talk to every day, with the idea that I'm trying to bridge the gap, because we always talk about how people don't communicate. We just don't communicate with each other. It's just all mudslinging and, throwing out random things. And so I don't bring people on.
So this is a little heavier, not quite as
No,
light.
It's definitely heavier, but it's still funny. It was light. I mean, me and Patrick kept it light. We actually did this podcast. At this point, it's probably been a week and a half ago, and I've just been slow to get it going. But it's not current events or anything. So everything that he said 10 days ago still holds true today. But yeah, so that's going to be my project.
Very cool.
I am looking to go public with that on Wednesday as well. So check out that. I'll probably throw it up on the critically unacclaimed Facebook. So, because
Well, it's all under the critically unacclaimed media. Is that what we're going with? Or network?
No, studios. Critically unacclaimed studios.
Oh, part of critically unacclaimed
Live from critically unacclaimed studios.
There you go.
Interview with a...
There you go. So, like, it's all under the critically unacclaimed banner. And, like, for me, like, I sold all my video equipment. I was thinking I was going to be, like, you know, make videos and, like, do YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. And I was like, you know what? Like, I enjoy podcasting. I like doing it. And I was like, maybe that's what I should focus on. So that's what I'm going to redo. Like, all that energy I was kind of focusing on trying to do that kind of stuff, I'm just going to recenter that into podcasting. I love Game of Thrones, and I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I know we'll probably talk about some of that on here, but we're just going to do a lot more deep diving on it.
Yeah, of course.
So.
We don't deep dive into anything.
No, it's just like
right?
we just talk about stuff.
Because we talk about it, and then we've got to move on to the next topic, and we've only got an hour, and we got to move on to a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, when you get us together in a room, it's like squirrel. And
well, we just like, you know,
somebody holds up some keys and we're like, ooh, something else, and we just move on.
We bring up some good things. Maybe we need to work on that. I don't know. Like,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't know. You guys tell us.
This.
Every week we ask you guys to give us some material or tell us what you think about the podcast.
Nobody does.
Really like
we would
to
really
know.
Appreciate it.
I know that there are people listening to this.
I would really like some help with figuring out that movie, as it's troubled me since I was like 11 and 12 years old.
I'm really interested to see if there's actually an unacclaimer out there that'll get that 200 CU points and the button.
Let's call them CU dollars.
CU dollars?
Yeah.
No, because people are going to want actual money.
No,
we don't have that.
We'll just make it a crypto, and then like maybe we'll be rich. Like, we'll just call it critically unacclaimed.
We're going to make a crypto.
Critically unacclaimed crypto. You have to keep your message that you get the points, and then we'll redeem it for crypto later on down the road. Could be 20 years, but hey, maybe a good investment.
We could be the next Dogecoin.
Get Elon Musk to suck our dicks for a while.
I'm using that button way too much now.
Hey, it's whatever. It's whatever.
Well, Tyler, I think we're up against it. So is there anything else that you had?
No, that's really about it for me. I think let's go next week. I'll have the title of the. I already have the title. You know what it is, but but I'll release the title and stuff to the fantasy podcast I'm going.
So, guys, you can find us. We are Critically Unacclaimed. You can find us at Unacclaimed Pod on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook, Critically Unacclaimed. If you're listening to us on Podbean or Spotify, thank you. You can also listen to us on YouTube and Pandora.
And give us a like and maybe a share. Like, you know, we know there's people out there who listen, and we don't see any shares on our Facebook, and it would tell us. Okay, we're not missing them.
Also, guys, don't make us a secret. Like, if you guys are sitting there in your cars right now driving to work,
if you're worried about us getting too big and stuff like that to where we won't stay real, that may happen. Yeah. But you got to help us get there. Okay,
let us decide whether we want to be sellouts or not. Don't make that decision for us.
We've already sold out in our minds. Like, let us get there so we can.
Also, check out Cine Skrew'd Podcast, and you guys can go back right now and listen to a bunch of their older movie
stuff,
reviews, or sometimes they'll do podcasts like us
on the geek side.
Yeah,
and like they talk a lot about movies and stuff like that in general.
So check them out, but then of course check them out on Wednesday. When it's guest starring yours truly. And we will see you guys next Sunday.
Thank you guys. Peace out.
Straight to the stage, they love me. I understand they hungry, but please don't hate, that's ugly. I've been sliding, shaking, moving. I've been popping in my city. Shawty say she love the way we do it with me. I be too turned up to ever give a fuck. I ain't come to argue, let a nigga fuck. They been talking pennies, I need bigger bucks. About to catch a flight, I need to switch it up. Got that black boy joy, might do my dance on him. Take no disrespect, might put my hands on him. Hit this chicken, now she wanna marry me. But she gon' need some closure and some therapy. Came back to the city with my bank account on F. Giving rappers hell, I know they happy that I left. Hit the south in winter, I just put down my deposit. 82 degrees, I left that jacket in my closet. I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'ma flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a change up. I leave the city and return with my change up. They got amnesia, don't remember how they played us. They wanna knock me down, but somehow I just stay up. Hey, look. what's that? Left out with the who she? Laying game like 2D. I been kicking shit like Bruce Lee. Margarita to the brim tip. Black denim need a slim fit. Same people that I flex with be the ones that I'm in the gym with. I'm a living legend, you a dead cause, and I'm dead ass. No, I'm dead, right? Leaving early, but I'm here night. Long and short to keep the head right. Teed up out in Malibu, got sand all in my good shoes. Press a nigga with the pessimism, but I only came for the good news. I am the show that they came for, hitting the target I aim for. We been discussing the contract, just telling they get what they paid for. I am not fucking with poverty, really it started to bother me. I need the yacht with the property, they come with the view that you gotta see. Came up from the basement, hit the rooftop with a passion. Bad bitch with some good credit and a good sense for the fashion. Dope blowing with the left hand, ass gripping with the right hand. Uber share to the airport, I'ma hit you back when my flight land.
I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup.